Talk about first to watch. How good was it for Logan and Reese to get their first career homers?
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty cool to see it happen to anybody when you get the first one, but especially if you're a freshman like Reese, and of course he kind of gets to tally it up as a walk-off. But also those two kids are, we had a little quick conversation in the outfield about, I mean, it wasn't anything that had to do with anything recently, but just guys who go about their business the right way is what you're looking for as a teammate and then as coaches when you coach kids. And those guys literally do everything to a T that you would like them to do. And, Reese is starting to come out of his shell a little bit like Dylan and some of the other guys, but Logan's always been very comfortable in his own skin and is a phenomenal kid to have around here no matter what he's doing on the field. But Reese can hit in the big leagues, and not that Logan can, but Logan's been one of our most consistent hitters when we scrimmage. I think in games it's just been a matter of it kind of getting rolling for him, and of course you got to get the opportunities to do that too.
Speaking of career first, Andrew made his career debut on the mound. How do you think he did?
I thought he did great. I like that. I mean, he probably doesn't, but I like that a guy got a knock against him. I mean, if Maui, was this close to making a phenomenal play on it, but it was good to see something go wrong and then kind of how he handled it. And to me, it was the same guy the entire time he was out there. And it had been coming for a while. I mean, he's been good for us since he showed up on campus, but he incrementally gets better each time he gets an opportunity to throw. He throws whenever we ask him to, because so far it's been just the hitters to kind of, see how he looks on the mound or get other guys some looks at a lefty or something like that. But he's got a bright future, and why not make it now? And ultimately that decision was his. I mean, if we had last year's roster requirements or next year's roster requirements, he would have already pitched a little bit for us. But we just want to be real sure, and we're trying to work within those restraints. And it all came to fruition tonight for the kid, and now the race is on to see how many times we can get him out there before the end of the year.
What does Arkansas do well, and what are some of those challenges playing on the road against a good team?
Yeah, I mean, I'm always in a poor position. I should take a few minutes after we play on Tuesday to look, and not that I don't know some of the guys, but there's the familiarity of knowing the guys as recruits is completely gone. So my familiarity is more with the program. It's a lively park with the fans. I mean, you're going to have as big of a fan base as anybody has. They know the game well, and they're going to try and make it tough on the opponent. Fortunately, we've looked at. I mean, no place is going to be the same, but we've kind of looked at what that's like in Arizona at Grand Canyon and in Baton Rouge, and then the guy's a winner. I mean, he knows how to manage a game, and certainly has an approach he's got with the pitching staff that he'll use. So those consistencies are, or factors are going to be there consistently for them every year. But I think this year they got a bunch of guys that were waiting their time. I know they lost as many guys as we did, as Mississippi did, but it's not like they're filling them in with guys that aren't any good. A couple portal guys, one from Kansas themselves and one from Creighton that's a big O strong guy. And then they got a couple lefties on the mound that are really good too. So we'll look at the much bigger picture, but they're consistently one of the best programs in the league for a reason.
How much of this weekend will be managing emotions, just kind of how that 2021 season run-ins with them went, and then also just the environment of their stadium, y'all managing your emotions this weekend?
Yeah, I mean, different guys. I mean, if Fergie was on the team, or I forget, there's another thing that went on, I'm now reflecting because you're bringing it up, but that was a while ago, and it's certainly a storyline for the fans. That's what makes this league so great. So there's some things there for people to talk about, and it may rear their head at certain points in the weekend. You could say maybe that's because of this or that, but really I think I don't really know how to speak for them where they're at. I know they're having a lot of success, so I'm sure they want to keep it rolling. For us, are we going to show up to the park with the best approach possible for us? Ultimately as coaches, you're trying to put kids in a position to succeed, and we're doing our best at doing that, and as the year goes on, we're learning guys and things like that, but the kids need to put themselves in the best position to succeed, or their teammates in the best position too. And by now we've stacked up enough reps on game day that we kind of know what we need to do when we're struggling, when it's going well, how to approach each day. Game 1, game 2, game 3 are all different. So I think kind of an inward reflection is going on right now for our guys. And, you don't have time to do that on game day. So I think the next couple of days, kind of having a sense whether they want to talk about it and meet. The meeting's not going to come from me, or just kind of make the decision that let's if we're going to play ball, let's play ball. And again, they know by now what that formula is, and there's a lot of things that go to it. But I think it's time to kind of cut out the fat of you can do without this. You don't need to read this. You don't need to talk to this person the night before a game. You don't need to be worried about this a night or two before the game. Show up, play ball.
You plan on, I guess, rolling with the same weekend rotation you've had throughout the year? Or is there potential shuffling?
John asked me that on the radio, and we had about everybody you can imagine available tonight, kind of feeling out how the game would go. And there's a couple guys that I kind of wanted out there that didn't pitch. Of course, we got the new rules in place. But Coach A scrambled with a few guys to throw bullpens. I think there was 4 of them. And then the pitchers were out there. So I tried to make it fun, and I said, who's got the best Coach Anderson impersonation? And Lindsay made an effort. It wasn't good. And I think somebody else said something. So it was kind of a scramble is the picture I'm trying to paint for you. So we'll get organized tomorrow. I wanted to see how tonight would go. And as a coach, you're kind of worried, are we caught up in the fact we played well against Florida? Are you looking forward to Arkansas? Or are we right now? And everything I saw out of everybody, I mean, they were loose, but it was all about right now or today for them, which was a good sign, and I think the scoreboard reflected that.
What's the key to playing loose on Friday, not having a football mentality? What's the phrase you used this weekend?
Cut out the I can say BS, I think. I mean, stuff kids can look up on their phone these days, for gosh sake. I can certainly say BS. But get to the essentials, And what do I got to do to get myself ready to play, and what do I got to do to help my buddy next to me get ready to play? And again, I've sat in here and done it on the radio, and by now I definitely sound like I'm whining. Like I'm trying to defend them though. Like it's already hard enough, this game, and then you do it at the highest amateur level in our league. Now it's super hard. So why are you going to tack on all this other stuff? Well, I can see why. There's good reason. We could break it down by individual, or we could break it down as our whole team. But why are you going to make it tough? I think in Yellowstone, is it Beth or what's the?
Beth.
Yeah, she's feisty. I think my man from Dazed and Confused tells her, life's hard, don't help it. And we've helped it a lot. Now, like I said, I want to defend him. I feel for him. There's a lot of external BS that either some individuals have to deal with more than others, or as a team, it's like fighting this battle, fighting that battle. Well, Arkansas is pretty good, and Baum Stadium's pretty rowdy. So that's there, but even more if you want to cut to the core, like, are we going to continue to try and find out what our best baseball is or not, is the question. And I think they're eager to do that. I think they're kind of fatigued at not doing that on certain occasions, want to be more consistent with it. So we'll see if they stick to their guns on that, if I can stick to my guns on that and focus on what the essentials are.
I feel like it's Friday night at LSU can kind of help them tame those emotions going into another rowdy environment.
Yeah. I mean, I'm glad you said the word Friday. I just realized that's the longest answer ever, and I didn't even talk about Friday. But I think what happens is there's a lot of build-up to the series, and so if it goes well, like it did against Texas A&M, like we were locked in offensively. We did a good job against a really good Friday guy there, and it was like confidence went even higher. And we won that game pretty handily, as long as I recall correctly. But there's all this build-up and this, that, and the other, and it doesn't go well right out of the chute, and you get too deflated. Sully, Florida, looks out for me. He's an experienced coach. He's a national champ. So I had a conversation with him, and I think Florida was more worried about us coming back and winning game 1 than we were, confident or focused on winning that game. So that doesn't match up very well. You don't want the opponent more nervous than you are confident. And I don't know that those are the right words, but again, I think that all stems from, extra stuff. So sorry to beat up that theme, but I truly feel that's the case. I don't, anybody can beat anybody in this league, but I know that it's a pretty good team when we show up, and it's a pretty fun team to be around when they show up the way that I kind of was preaching about earlier.